Did you know the silent killer of marriages is not adultery? In fact, it's not even money. It's something that's so quiet and sinister that can you ever imagine before. Today, I want to take this opportunity to share with you as I welcome in this theme that I call the fall theme that I'm sharing with you. I'm always doing it in outdoor and I'm enjoying the weather. Here in Minnesota, we are not very privileged with the warm weather, especially when it comes to fall. So having this fall that is beautiful as this, where I can be out here with my t-shirts and my shorts, if I can see, you can see as I go further, it's just feeling amazing. And I'm excited about it. So that being said, let's roll to our daily presentation here. Welcome. I am your host, Alpha Mshihiri, your marriage coach. I use tools that's spiritual in nature to help you and your spouse navigate your marriage and direct it into a more beautiful shore that is of your interest and your liking. So, what is this thing that is a silent killer in marriages? Very, very interesting. And I want to do this from the point of view of a client, if it's okay. And yes, I don't divulge clients' secret, but I always ask for permission. And those who gives me permission, I take them. And even they have given me, I do not use it in entirely so that I can expose the persons even though they're willing to. I usually kind of add some few things to be able to kind of dilute the story from that client so that they cannot be identified directly. So one day, if you give me my permission to use your story, if you became a client, guess what? Don't worry. It will not be part of my story that I'm telling unless you give me permission. But also when you do so, I tend to kind of add some few things in order to dilute the reality of the person. If you want to continue to be yourself, that you can tell your story, I have testimonials. So that is usually those who are willing for me to use the information directly from T to T. That's how I do that. But in this conversation, so I'm going to bring Jake. Jake is an amazing guy, a wonderful by all measure and manner. And he got married to his sweetheart. They went to high school together. She was a cheerleader and he was a football captain. They were in love from those days. And when they graduated, he went and to a technical school, technical college in the local city, and he became a mechanical engineer for one of the gas grilling company. They were drilling gas, I believe. So he was a mechanical there, and so he started earning money quicker. On the other hand, she went and studied nurse. She loved her career. She didn't only just take one degree, she ended up having a master degree in nursing. I think she specialized in something more unique. And the relationship could not be better. He was making good amount of money in the small city they're in, and she was making a good amount of money. She had to drive a little bit out of the city that they're in because the nearby city was a much bigger city, and her specialty was more in demand there because there were bigger hospitals. But regardless, the pay was good. They had a beautiful house and life was beautiful. And Jake always loved football as he had done from the days of high school. So on the side, all weekend, he will spend some time teaching football. And he loved it so much, so he spent so much time teaching football. She loved her nursing career. She spent so much time doing different programs within the nursing context. And she was flourishing and become successful in her career. So each and every one was busy. And before you knew it, 3 years in their marriage, the house became a meeting point. And when they met, it was for a brief moment. Each and every one was tired for the day work. And so they just connect and went to sleep. It was okay. They sacrificed. And they saw that's what marriage is about. The love that was flourishing, very interesting, intimacy, laughing and joyful, suddenly was diminished in color. I have a t-shirt that I love it a lot. My wife actually, she tried to throw it away, but for some reason, unless she secretly take it out from the trash, I wouldn't know. But she will pile it with other clothes and hide it when we're saying we're giving clothes. But for some reason, I have no clue. I will go and start picking up and I will find this t-shirt. It has worn out so much. But for somehow, the way it has worn out, It makes feels me different when it's on my skin. So I keep wearing when I'm at home. That's a go-to t-shirt. And she's like, you have all these t-shirts. Why you keep going to that? And it irritates her. But I said, I don't know. It's just it feels different. Eventually, I didn't want to continue because she kept. I said, no, no, I love my wife more than I love this t-shirt. So I have to let it go because she keeps asking me, and I keep saying the same answer. Eventually, I said, okay, we cannot just donate. It's already worn out too much. You couldn't tell it, but it was worn out. It became so light. I'm like, we'll just throw it away. So we did. But that's how it felt. Their relationship, the color, the vibrant, the intimacy, the relevance was diminishing in color day by day. It was weakening and it was becoming less and less of a great value. But they were compromising. They were okay. They said, oh, that's marriage. And in fact, when Jake's football season was over, Jake could not stand to come home right away. So he will go and hang out with his friends. They will drink beer, hang out in different places. They couldn't do so much bars because both his friends and him, the wives became irritated of their behavior of hanging out in bars as single guys. Because waitresses will hit them, young girls will come and hit on them, and the wives were not feeling comfortable with those situations. So Jake and his friends went and rented a garage. Imagine to go to an extent to rent a garage. In that garage, they bought a nice sofa, put a refrigerator there, a huge TV, repaint, and they spent weeks every week to redesign that garage space as a cozy place they can hang out. And it became a place, Jake, after working days where he doesn't have football, instead of heading home, he goes to the garage. He will open and sit there. If none of his friends are there yet, he will open his beer, sit down. They have a grill outside. Their wives sometimes, when they need to hang out with their husbands, they will agree to come and meet them at the garage. And both of them have their homes. Very interesting the things we do as human beings. But this has been going on. And Jake, the wives wanted to have the kids, but their busy schedule was not really connecting them. And she felt there was a guiltiness, but that if she have a baby, the baby will not have the sufficient support of the parents because of their schedule. But their schedule was not an issue. It's a thing that they told themselves. Because she made herself busy in order not to come home early. And in fact, when Jake and her friends created this place of hangout, she started coming home early. And when she came home early, she started being bored and she started making noise before Jake's ears. Oh, you always come home late. And when you come home, you're already drunk. You think, and now it became an issue. When Jake was home, she found something to do. Now he's not home, she's coming home early. Jake found something else to do when the football season is over. She feels lonely at home and she gets frustrated. And that frustration started creating bickering within their marriage. And you know what happened. Argument, constant argument. And of course, Jake's, to avoid those arguments, he kept staying out with his friends so he doesn't come home early to hear the argument. By the time he come home, she's asleep. He just take a shower and go to sleep. And so that the end of it. 5 years later, that marriage, they have become strange. In fact, eventually, she quietly moved to a different bedroom. It was a 3-bedroom house they have. She moved and made herself comfortable in that bedroom. So more often when Jake is hunger for sex, guess what? He's sneaking and start begging. Oh, honey and everything. He'll beg. He will get lucky, but it will be far in between. And in fact, he will tell her, she will tell him, I thought we just had sex about 2 weeks ago or about a month ago. You think what it is? This is just a story. You guess a gas story. You just keep coming and get it. And they will get into those type of conversation. Something that they could not go without. If she wasn't in her period, they were like rabbits. They were all over the place each other those days. And all of a sudden, it became something that she will count. We just had it about a month ago. You think, and it will create a whole world of a conversation. And Jake, to avoid this type of discussion, Jake did a poor decision. She found a young girl that she could be able to have sex with. And she agreed with the girl. According to Jake, she told the girl, you know what? I'm with my wife. I love my wife, but things are not working at home. And you're very attractive, beautiful. If you're okay, we can just be sex buddies. And the girl said, man, I like you, Jake. You don't put too much demand on me. So I'm cool with that. And Jake started, helping out with certain things and buying this and do that. And she's like, that's fine. It's even better. There is no commitment and I'm free and I can still live my life. And that relationship with that young girl continued. And he comes home at sleep so he doesn't feel embarrassed to sneak in and ask for sex from his wife. But eventually she started feeling, okay, 6 months have gone, he hasn't come and asked, something must be suspicious. She started investigating. She was investigating and figuring out what he's doing, where is he doing it. And eventually she started seeing things that were like, okay, there's something more to it. She confronted Jake, and Jake he wasn't a guy who could hide things. So eventually he told her the truth. He said, it's true. This is what happened. And that created a whole new scenario. In fact, Jake had to get out of the house. For over 2 years, he slept in that little barn that they created with his friends. He will come home. He left his clothes there so that he can go and take a shower, but he wouldn't sleep at the house because the house went on fire. So for 2 years, he had to break up with that girl, so he couldn't have sex. He couldn't even go and ask for the sex from his wife. And she told him, I said, I'm not going to divorce you. I'm going to make your life miserable. So they were growing old, no kids, and both started feeling that there's need for have kids. And as you can imagine, it appears that she was confiding her pain to somebody else. And that person lured himself into her heart, and she started leaning toward the guy. She loves Jake so much, but she was frustrated by the way their marriage is. So she couldn't stand to be in the company of Jake. And especially when she remembered what Jake did, but also she went and did the same. But even worse, she got pregnant. Not knowing she got pregnant from that guy. Once she realized she started having a period. When she checked, she was pregnant. And she hadn't slept with Jake for over 2 years by that time. So what is she going to do? And Jake was not confronting. And Jake wasn't thinking of anything. She started changing. Her body is changing. She's trying to hide it, but how long can you hide pregnancy? But Jake, not knowing it, and one day Jake was at the store, just picking up groceries and doing some stuff, and he's doing some grocery, and he was standing at a place, and there was like an area where it's like, I think he said it was prenatal things that were there, pills and all that stuff, vitamins and everything else. So this lady, that they know each other, they're small town, they know each other, and the lady comes and say, oh, Jake, congratulations. Oh, you want me to help you choose which one? Because it looks like you don't know what one to choose. You want me to choose it for you? And he said, what do you mean? I mean, she's like, oh, no. It's like, yeah, I know. So he's referring to the area that he was standing. She was referring to the area near to where he was standing, because he was standing like this. So it looks like he was looking at something there, but actually he was looking at something like, which just a little of an angle from where he was standing. And they carry a conversation for about 5 minutes. She went and stood exactly where these prenatal vitamins and everything else are sitting, and he was standing nearby her. And they're having a conversation. She is pointing out which one is better, because he's seen his wife, and he knows that she's pregnant, and she's assuming the pregnancy is Jake's pregnancy. So eventually she's like, so, and she asked him, so do you guys, are you going to be, kind of figure out the sex? Jake was like, what do you mean that we're going to figure out the sex? It's like, for your kids. I mean, so she's pregnant. I mean, it's too early, but are you excited to go and know the sex, or are you just going to let it kind of as a surprise? And he was kind of caught off guard. He's like, what is she talking about? A sex? She's pregnant? I mean, he couldn't think at the beginning that she might have cheated To him, it was like, what are you talking? Are you talking? She's like, oh, you're talking about, almost I used the name, but he mentioned his name, his wife. He gave me the permission, so I'm going to use it. He said, go ahead. And both of them eventually agreed. He said, are you talking about Tracy? And she's like, yeah, who else can I talk about? It's Tracy. Isn't Tracy your wife? What's wrong with you, Jake? And say, oh, my mind, he says, kind of, so he said, my mind is so far away. I just, work and everything else. She's like, I understand, when kids are coming, it adds responsibility. And now probably you're thinking about what you got to do with this and how you guys are going to handle all that. She's a busy lady and you're a busy guy. So how you guys going to do all of that? And she's like, yeah, he kind of played out. Yeah, you are right at the money. That's how it feels. And she's like, yeah, but and she's like, when I was pregnant with the friend, the husband is the French with Samsa, this is one I used. They were very helpful. And so he said he played the joke. He took some of them, and actually he decided that day, instead of going to the place that he was buying some stuff he can use for meat and everything else so that he can start cooking there. He's like, I just want to be cooking there. He eats and he goes home just to take a shower and come back and sleep. That's how he was kind of thinking. But now he's thrown away. So he's like, okay, I'm going to buy this prenatal stuff for my wife. He bought a bunch of them. He checked it out and he went straight home. And when we got home, there she was, busy cooking her meal and everything else. And she looked at him. She looked at her. He said, like, it doesn't look like she's pregnant. But he said, the only way I can know that she's pregnant, I'm going to do something very interesting here. So he took the groceries and put in the refrigerator. The groceries that he was actually planning to put it in the hangout bar, the hangout place that he has with his friends. He took that, put in the refrigerator, and she was surprised, like, wow, he went and bought grocery for the house. That's interesting. She didn't say anything. And he took the prenatal things and put it on the counter close to where she was cooking, and he went to take a shower. Of course, that makes a statement. She's a nurse. She knows the prenatal vitamins and everything else, what they are. And she looked and she was like, oh, shoot. And he went and took a shower, did everything else and everything. He wasn't going to say anything. Actually, he was just going to walk out of the house. As he came down, she was sitting in the living room crying. And he looked at her. He wanted to walk away, but he said, what? I'm just going to, I don't know what she's crying, because he was concerned anyway. And he just said, what's going on, baby? And he forgot for a minute about what he did. He was more concerning about her crying, and he genuinely wanted to know what's going on, why she's crying, what happened. He sat by her side and said, what's going on? Why are you crying? And she's like, I know, I'm sorry. And she started saying, I'm sorry. Eventually, of course, he kind of remembered, okay, I know what she's talking about. He was enraged, full of rage, to a point he was so calm, he couldn't even imagine that he was. And she talked and talked and talked. She didn't divulge a lot, but she kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, our marriage, I'm sorry. And he just listened, and eventually he just walked out. He said, it's okay, babe. You had to do what you had to do. He walked away. But he went to that room. He sat there. He wondered what has happened. It reminded me on the scriptures. We told Jacob, when Canaan was found without enough grain to feed its people, famine entered Canaan. Jacob at some point asked this question to his children: what are you doing here? So what are you doing here? You just keep wandering around, walking around, and we don't even have food. We don't have grain. But he said, I have heard in Egypt there's grain. They're selling it. That was the moment of awakening. And Jake realized that moment. He wondered, he said, what's going on? Is this what marriage is? Is this what adulthood is about? He looked at the place and he was disgusted at the place. But it wasn't the place that was disgusting. He was disgusted of himself. And as he sat there and thinking and pondering, Jake came an idea. He could not stand the shame that pregnancy will bring in his life. A respected high school football coach. Almost everybody in town knows Jake because he was a great quarterback when he was playing football. And now he has become a very fundamental or a crucial coach in the high school team. And they're doing extremely well. They've had championships several times. So those things had value, and he couldn't stand that disappointment. So Jake walked. There was a small handy store. He walked to the store and he bought Clorox. And he went to the um, to uh, to CVS, kind of one of those pharmaceutical place. He bought some pills. His intent was he's going to end his life. That was the best solution ever, so that she can live her life, and people can forget about him. That's what he was thinking, and he did that. He went and gargled some Clorox, took these pills, thinking that will fasten the process, and in fact, it knocked him off. One of his buddy comes, and when he comes, he finds foams on his mouth. And he looked on the table, he saw Clorox, he saw a bottle of pills. Also, the first thing he did, he calls Tracy. And he dials 911. Tracy rushed to the place, trying to help Jake. Jake was unconscious. They took Jake to the hospital. And of course, for some reason, he took almost a whole bottle of some pills. For some reason, because Clorox could not be mixed with the pills. So the pills did not digest faster. So it didn't become poisonous. It just knocked him off, especially with the Clorox. That is what saved Jake's life. And as a result of that, Jake was saved, rescued. He did not die. But that brought a new conversation in their relationship. They had to start having a different conversation, a conversation that was different from the one they've had in the past. A complete type of conversation it called for. As he was in the bed there, Tracy was every day by his side. And after he was left from the hospital, Tracy made sure that he returned home. And he took care of him until he gained his strength. And when he had the strength, she asked him if it's okay that he can stay in the house. And one day they had a conversation. And Tracy broke it down and explained everything what happened. And she said, "Who is the man that have the baby?" So Jake was left with the question, what to do? But Jake was furious. In order to calm his furious, he said, I need help. They went through therapy, counseling, nothing could help. After a year, he said, "I'm tired of this stuff. It just makes me furious." Of course, the baby was born, and they made an arrangement. The guy came, he introduced himself, they had a conversation. It was part of the ideas and conversation that were born out of the therapy. But it didn't help Jake. Jake had this anger that was eating him. He was just looking for an opportunity. She had to hide guns and everything else. She kept monitoring him, and Jake was suicidal. Eventually, Jake reached out to my program. We had a conversation. And he explained to me, and he cried, actually. He cried. I wish I was there standing by his side and hold him. He spent more time crying than talking. You can tell that. And when a person he cries out of anger, he kind of, the breath is just sporadic. But we talked and talked and talked. And eventually Jake decided to say, he said, "I'm gonna buy the program." He said, "I want to be better." After having a conversation with him, he said, "I want to be better. What you said, it makes sense." He said, "I want to be better for me first, and then I can be better for Tracy." The guy had nothing to do with the baby. The guy said, "I was just having my nightstand. You guys, that's your marriage problems, your marriage problem, your kid. You can have the baby. I don't care." He actually stopped talking to Tracy. So it even added a wound on Tracy, went and cheated on a man who doesn't care about her. But the baby have seen Jake so many times, he actually called Papa. "Hey, Papa, Papa, Papa." So that feeling made Jake feeling sad. He enjoyed it but he hated it. So therefore, he was somewhat hating the baby. So how was he healing that? That's when he came to the program. And when he came to the program, he had to learn that it wasn't the baby, it wasn't Tracy, it wasn't him. Instead, it is a state of mind that he sat on. It is a state of mind that brought that downfall of their marriage. When he understood this simple principle, he became comfortable with less than throughout that relationship. Remember, when they came together, they were vibrant. But little by little, they started paying attention more to their responsibilities and ignore their relationship. Their relationship became more casual than something that they have to all do together. She pursued more. And guess what? The more she pursued her nursing career, she accumulated more status. The more he pursued his engineer thing, whatever the handiwork he was doing in this company, he got paid more. He became a supervisor and eventually became a manager. So you could see there was a reward toward that which they were aspiring to be. And in doing so, they forgot about they had to do the same. You cannot expect a marriage to grow if you neglect it. I remember those days, we had bought this house, and the previous owner had built a nice area where there was a garden, vegetables, a beautiful area. It was just beautifully designed. Me and my wife, we've never done that before. So we were excited to be able to plant our own garden. I mean, I grew up in an area where we had a garden, but it wasn't me who was maintaining the garden as a kid. We had what we call a house boy or a garden boy, whatever you want to call it. But those are the people who were managing the garden, the flower pot, and everything else, so all the landscaping. So when we bought it, we went actually bought tomatoes, cucumbers, and everything else because it was partitioned. There were like 7 areas that are partitioned together, partitioned different, so you can plant different things in each and every partitioned area. It was amazing. I mean, we bought this stuff and put it there. I would remember occasionally going and pour water, cultivating, and my business was demanding and I was busy. My wife was busy staying at home taking care of the kids, so she was busy attending to the kids program, and she had to make sure that we eat at a particular. So it was just everybody was busy, and we were genuinely busy with everything else. And little by little, we were not attending the garden. Weekend comes, we were busy for kids program. We're running for this program, for that program. By the time you come home, you just want to chill out. Don't want to do anything else. The whole day you've gone for a program on that program and this program. And we did so much of that. And guess what? That garden died. And we went to a friend who loves gardening. He and his wife, they just thrive in gardening. And remember that day we went and they put out and gave us a big bucket of tomatoes and green peppers and other red peppers and yellow peppers. They had just, and their areas that were growing, it was not even half of the size of our area. But they had all these, they gave us a big bag of green tomatoes, yellow tomatoes, red tomatoes, and they gave us, not red tomatoes, I mean green peppers, yellow peppers, and then red peppers. And tomatoes, there was a big, we were looking like, and then they have those sweet peppers. They're like long. I'm like, what happened? And we said, oh, it's our hand. Our hand is not good as theirs. That's what we said. And they look at it and said, oh, maybe, I don't know. But the truth is, they attended to their garden. They were constantly there, doing what they need to do. They were pulling the weeds. They were watering every single day. They were fertilizing it and then tendering to it. They also had 2 kids. And those kids were on the same age almost of ours. So they were also busy with everything else. But they made time for their garden. So their garden flourished. and ours died, and we said it's our hand. It is our ignorance. Where you're not investing, you cannot expect to have a return on. Jesus, and I keep repeating this principle, you're going to hear it a lot in my conversation. Give, and it shall be given. Equal measure, shaken together, press it down and overflow. The attention you place on something is the give you're doing. According to the attention you place, equal measure will be given back. Shaken together, press over, and overflow. Meaning that it will continue to flourish. It will continue to blossom. Those three stages will happen. It will come together in your mind. You will have the peace of mind. It will be pressed down. Then it will overflow in your world of experience. Overflow. Those three things will happen. So when you no longer attending to the marriage, you're not showing up. Showing up in the marriage is not about doing and keep your body busy. I show up in my marriage every single day. When I wake up in the morning, I do not get out of the bed and go and do what I need to do. If my wife is up, she's getting a kiss. I don't care if she brushed her teeth or not. I don't care if I've brushed mine or not. If I have to do, I'll do it. And I'll give her a kiss. I am establishing connection. First thing in the bed. And she do the same thing. What we're doing there, we're not just pleasing each other. We are establishing connection. You know, I was away for a period of time. On my journey of being away, and most of you who have followed my program, you might know what I'm talking about. But when I was away, the first few days, I didn't have the phone. I mean, the first few days of being away, I was without the phone. Because at that time, I was a business consultant. So every time I was on with the phone, I'm responding to clients' needs. I'm attending to things. Even sometimes I used to take a break. I'll go for a walk. I used to have my phone so that I can respond back and making sure that there are certain things that will be so sensitive in time, and I will do that to be able to make sure that I get what I'm looking for. So what I will do is I will just respond quickly, just send back a response. But when I was away for a brief of time, guess what happened? My phone, I would feel the phone vibration. I didn't have the phone with me, but I will feel the vibration because there was so much connection with the phone. Today, most of you cannot go for a period of time without it because you are constantly touching the phone. So the connection is so strong. You will feel the vibration of the phone even when you are far away from it. I've seen my kids sometimes, they're in the room, they come in the living room and they go to the bathroom and they run quickly because they forgot to take the phone to the bathroom. I'm like, you cannot miss anything. Statistics and studies, they're saying people spend more time in the bathrooms nowadays, not because they're shitting more or they're using more of the bathroom, because they're spending time on their phones. Even when they're in the bathroom, you see somebody, a grown man, is sitting in the toilet, doing whatever they're doing, and they're on the phone. And they're on the phone. One time I was in a public bathroom, and the guy, I know he walked in the bathroom in the stall. I'm peeing, he's taking number 2. And you can hear him, and as the phone rings, he's like, hello? Oh yeah, I'm in the bathroom. Let me call you when I get out. I'm like, why do you pick up the phone while you're in the bathroom? But it's because of the connection. We are connected to the phone so many times. Yes, the same thing, simple thing as a gesture of a kiss to your wife, to your husband, a hand touch constantly. I walk in the home, I'm going to hold my wife. I'm going to give her a kiss. I'm going to say something. Those are connection. You are establishing connection. The more connection you are making, the stronger the intimacy and the connection itself. It makes it more stronger. It makes it more real. Even when you are far apart from one another, it still feels like you want to be together. Not because people in there so connected, they're like, your wife has wrapped around you, or your husband. No, it's because there's so many connections between one another. You are touching, you're bumping, you are scrubbing, you are moving together. And those are connections that makes a difference in the end. But when you're not doing that, you do not become, your attention is diminished. When attention is diminished, the touching is diminished. When touching is diminished, connection is weakened. When a connection is weakened, a relationship is no longer stronger. Intimacy wears out, it becomes less and less. And when there's less intimacy, guess what? The relationships start falling apart. People say, oh, we fell out of love. You didn't fall out of love. You were lazy in that relationship. You were not doing what you were supposed to do. And therefore, connection has weakened. The wire was getting weaker and weaker. And the more weaker it is, it loses its connecting power. And therefore, there is no transmission that is happening within that connection. That's what really happens. And for Jake, when Jake learned that, he said, Alpha, I'm going to spend time building this connection back because I want that relationship. I said, the reason you guys were so connected when you were in high school, you were always together. You were young, you had nothing else. All you had to do is think about one another. You were together, you were singing, you were practicing, you practiced together. And he said, that's true. Even when they were married, they were enjoying the company of one another. They were the best friends of each other. Each one of them had their friends, but they were the two best friends. They had each other's back. He comes home, he will play with her, he will joke with her. They used to go on their backyard, they'd bought the house, they used to play football together because she knows he used to love football. So they will she will play football with him. She had been in so many games, she knows how it plays, and she was comfortable with the fact. And on the other hand, she loves dancing, and he will be dancing with her, and they will be having fun. But that, it became a thing of a childish. So they walk away from it. And by walking away of it, they were walking away from their connection. And the connection was weakened, so their intimacy became poor. And the poor intimacy produced what they were experiencing in the end. And that's what it's all about. Your relationship is where it is, not because of your spouse, not because of yourself, but because each and every one of you have not been doing that which you're doing. Imagine today if you go to work and you're not applying yourself the fullest extent you expected to do. If you don't do that, guess what happens? You will not be paid equal amount. If even worse, you'll be fired. So why do you think your spouse will keep you if you're not putting enough weight into the relationship? You are not connecting. You're not building intimacy. You're not enhancing the relationship any further. You have become a burden. I would let you go, but there is a way of doing it the right way. The 3I framework that I talk about a lot. Once you learn how to idealize the situation you're facing, and then you introduce that which you have idealized, and then that which you have idealized, you iterate, and you do that. It is said, that which you have done in secret, as it is in the Bible, your Father in heaven have seen it. And because he have seen it, he will cause others to testify. Who are others? Your environment will testify to the fact that you have changed, that your relationship is better now, that you are a person who is suitable for this relationship. You know, we all have fantasy of a superstar in our lives. You might be in your worst moment, but let's say if you're a football, like Jake, I told him, I said, Jake, who is your best quarterback? And she said, Mahone. I said, if he shows up, what you going to do? He's like, man, I don't care how angry I am. I'm going to be excited. I said, there you go. You make your wife the superstar you want to see. When you see her, no matter how you're feeling, get excited. Excitement is not because of, it's something we choose because we say that is the person we're going to be excited with. So therefore, when you see your wife, get excited. I do that. When I walk into the house, I'm excited to see my wife. Sometimes I might be sad or something have happened that make me feel uncomfortable, not excited. But when I see her, I'm like, hey, baby. But she feels the energy. She'll be like, what's going on, honey? I know you're trying, but what's going on? But I tried. That's the key. And she does the same thing. And I'll be like, what's going on? I mean, what's wrong? Tell me. And eventually she tells me. But that's the key. We're trying. We're trying to do it regardless. So the question is, what are you trying? Are you trying to continue to be lazy? Not to do what you're doing? You're giving every excuse. It's marriage. There's no such a thing. We always go, where we place our attention, we invite that experience into our lives. When we put attention somewhere else and forget, it's possible to balance the two. You come home. So what's the problem of being excited of seeing your spouse? You're coming home anyway. I'm not asking you to go and get another job. I'm asking you to come home, Connect with your spouse. Touch your hand. Touch his hands. Hold him down and just play the dog. Say how. How was your day? How much is it going to cost you to do that? So when Jake realized that, he started doing that little by little. And the relation, he didn't have to invite his wife. Stacy didn't have to come. He did it all by himself. And he started showing up with a smile as a person who wants to live, not one who wants to die. A person who aspire to have a better experience in this relationship as the one who have given up for being lazy. And that gave him the relationship back and even more. Stacy became humble. They connected. They are raising their child together happily. Actually, he was afraid that people will talk about him. Actually, people admire his ability to bounce back. He has become not only just the best basketball, football coach for the kids. Parents admire him, and many of them, he said, it's strange enough, many comes and ask him for guidance. But now he doesn't only just say stuff. He's experienced it. He has been equipped with the tools and resources. He's teaching other parents. In fact, he has started a class within his community. He's teaching parents how to handle their relationship. I told Jake, you're taking my job, man. Those are supposed to be my clients. He said, no, Alpha. They're still your clients because you're teaching me every single day. And which was true. I was just joking. We were joking. But which is true. So today, as you're sitting there, don't look at your relationship and say, oh, my spouse or circumstances or marriages, there's no such a thing. All you're doing, you are agreeing, you are conforming to the circumstances you're facing. It is time to renew your mind and transform yourself to become the person your spouse desire to be around with. My wife, if I'm gone for a period of time, she will look, it's not because she just can't be without me. Because I am her superstar and she is my superstar. Sometimes I'm busy doing things and I'm like, oh, she left for about 2-3 hours or maybe 4 hours. I'm just sending a message. Hey, honey, I just check on you. I miss you. I love you. It makes a difference in her life. And when she does for me, it makes a difference for me. It doesn't cost us anything. So don't give an excuse, buddy. Don't give an excuse. It's just laziness. And what I call it, complacency. When you are lazy or when you exercise complacency in your marriage, you are losing the value that you could have had. It's not just being lazy. It's about losing that which you could have had and experienced. You're saying, I'm comfortable here, but you are losing here. And therefore, you are a loser at the end of the day. Headache, disappointment, frustration enters the mind. Today is the opportunity for you to change your life, to change your marriage, and creating a relationship that is equal to that which He has promised of you, a prosperous marriage. Give it a try. I'm telling you, your health will thank you. Your mind will thank you. Your spirit will rejoice with you. And your experience will worship you. Until then, remember, if you need resources, there are a number of links below here that you can reach out. Don't go and say, oh, it's impossible. There's nothing impossible unless you say so. And if you say so, therefore it will be impossible. Not because it is, but because you have said so. Until then, I'll be back.